lovelies, welcome back to UG Update. So guys, let's talk about the Anupama series, guys, and we're talking about quite an interesting episode that will be coming up in the Anupama series. Anupama clears Anuj's name from fraud. Let's find out what went down. But before I continue to the video, guys, please don't forget that this is still UG Update. In case if you are yet to subscribe to UG Updates, please click on the subscription button and subscribe. Don't also forget, guys, to give the video a thumbs up. Alright lovelies, let's dive straight into the video. So guys, the episode starts with Adia asking them to take it as the game, while Kinja asks Anuj and Anupama to play the game. Anuj and Anupama sit to do the rasam and they put their hands in the milky water. A song plays in the background while everyone cheers for them. Bala asks until when this game will go on, while Toshi says the newlyweds don't romance like they do. Anuj finds the flowers but Anupama gets the ring and shows to him. Dolly says nonsense and goes from there. While Ba is upset and goes from there, Indra then says we all shall go and sleep. Everyone goes. Then Anuj asks Anupama to wait and plays the ring finding ceremony again. He says you got the ring again. Then Anupama says you got it and gave it to me. Ask if he accepted his defeat. He asks her to go and sleep as tomorrow is a meeting with Mr. Metaji's son, and asks her to go and sleep, else he will not let her sleep all night. Anupama gets up to go and says Gabadiaji, you have won, and calls him Buluram. Anuj says I am not that Bulu. So the next day Anuj helps Anupama and sets her sari pleats. Anupama stitches his shirt button and then she says you started in the morning. Anuj says if Ishak and Muhabbat is a moon which will be shown in the night only. Anupama says she is very nervous and says don't know what they will ask. While Anuj says they will ask when you will agree to marry Anuj. Anupama asks what? Then she says you joke when I am nervous and ask him to come with her. Anuj says okay, I will drop you there. Then he says Mr. Mehta told that there is another firm who gives a chance for startups and will do investments. He says they will take your interview. Then Anupama says even you need an investment. Anuj says but nobody will believe him due to Ankosh and Parker. They made his name on Froster's top list. Then Anupama says you have to clear your name. She asks him to come. While Dolly comes in front of them and asks Anupama to have curd and sugar. Ba and Toshi ask her to have it, but Dolly says you don't want to have it and drops the ball on the ground. Says it fell by mistake and it is an abshakon. Minu and Saga cleans Anupama and Anuj clothes. Then Anuj says it's okay. Minu says we have learned from Mami that we shall clean the mess and miss whoever creates it. Anuj and Anupama makes them get up. Then Minu says we will pray that you succeed. Anuj and Anupama leave from there with pride. In another sense, Mr. Mehta's son tells that Papa told him and he himself had a lot of Anukirasai and says for the startup bust, you have to give live interview and you will be asked some questions. He asks if you have problem to face the camera, but Anupama says no. The reporter then asks Anupama how she got the idea of Anukirasai. Then Anupama says it is not mine but of Anuj G and says she wants him to tell about it. Anu thinks if you want to take me then you can't do it. Anupama thinks she don't want to do without him. So Anuj comes and sits there. The reporter says they know Anuj Kabadia. Then Anupama says all the world knows him. He has made a small story turn into a big Gabadia empire alone, with his honesty and hard work, without anyone's work. She says you are helping people for startup, but Anuj also gives chance to newcomers and helps people seeing their talent. The reporter says you are talking about earlier, but as far as I read about him, he is fraud and bankrupt. Many people lost their money and jobs and now he wants to start again. But who will work with him as his name is already bad in the market? And Pama then says whatever you read about him is a lie and says whatever you read on the internet is not true and is a lie too. The reporter says I am keeping the facts in front of you. Then Anupama asks him to hear the fact first and then keep it in front of the public. Anupama gets up and stands in front of the camera and then she says neither Anuj Gabadia is a cheat nor fraud. This is a false allegation on him to ruin his name. She asked him to ask Anuj Gabadia any employee or any client and says he always helped them. He says you heard about this fraud since 8 months and says he had a big accident 8 months back and his condition was so bad that he was not in his senses. But his brother Ankosh Gabadia and his Bahi Paka Gabadia took advantage of his condition, got their names written in all his property, business and house. He says whatever wrong you heard about him is done by his Bay and Bahi. Then Anuj Gabadia didn't do business since 8 months and Ankosh and Paka have barred his entry in the company. She says if people suffered, loses and lost jobs, then it is because of them. She says even today if he gets Gabadia Empire back, then he will make the company get back on track, and tells that if the company was bankrupt then, it is because of them and not because of Anuj. She says look at him, if anyone was on his place, then wouldn't have dared to stand again. But Anuj is standing again as he don't accept defeat. He won just one chance and he will set Gabadia's empire again. And I know him and I trust him fully. She says he is my partner in Anu Kirasai, and I am sure that Anu Kirasai will reach heights due to his business sense. She holds his hand and makes him stand in front of the camera and says he wants just one chance and Anuj Gabadia will prove who he is. Anuj signs yes to Anupama. Then the reporter and Mr. Mehta's son looks on. In another sense, Saga comes to the kitchen and tells Minu that the wife look is suiting her. Minu asks her to stay away as someone will come and ask if he is flirting with her. Saga says, I have right, you are my wife now. He comes near her. Then Dolly comes there and throws the glass on the ground. She asks Saga to stay away from her daughter, while Minu asks her not to disrespect her husband and says, don't know why you changed so much, and says, I wish and I hope you were not my mother, and Mommy was my mother. Dolly gets angry. While back to Anuj and Anupama saying, Anuj tells Anupama that this interview was for you. Anupama then says, whatever is there, it is ours. Anuj says, today you stood for me, and says, Anu Kirasai idea is not just mine, and says it was your idea. Your children had demoralized you so that you made it big. Then Anupama tells that the mother remains the mother and means whoever takes care of him or her. She says she will learn business from him and will become #1 businesswoman. Anu then says, I will romance with you. He says, let's go to the temple. Why Dimpy stops Adia from going to Anj and argues with her. Adia gets upset but cheers up seeing Anj. Anuj and Anupama comes to the temple and prays for each other's happiness. Guys, this was quite a lot. Seriously, this is an outstanding one from Anupama because of Anuj. Like, Anupama really stood her ground for Anuj on this episode. Seriously, that was beautiful. Guys, please drop what you think about this episode and Anupama's sacrifice so far in the Anupama series. Please drop what you think about this superwoman on the comment section. And as you do that, please don't forget that this is still UG Update. In case if you are yet to subscribe to UG Update, please click on the subscription button and subscribe. Don't also forget, guys, to give this video a thumbs up. Alright, lovelies, that will be a wrap. Thank you guys for watching up to this point. You guys have been amazing and I really love you guys, and I'll see you guys on my next video.